Hey guys, this is Michał from mdbootstrap.com, and in today's video we are going to talk about Bootstrap Navbar. Navbar is a complex component and can be troublesome even for experienced developers. So today we will learn how to use it properly. I will also show you some advanced tricks and usage, and also some cool tools like this Navbar Generator. So after watching this video, you will feel very comfortable with this tricky component. As always in my tutorials, I am using mdbootstrap, which is a free UI kit that greatly extends regular Bootstrap capabilities. So go to mdbootstrap.com, click big red Get Started button, and once again, download the package. Then unzip it and open it in your favorite code editor. I am using Visual Studio Code. Now open index.html file and remove the existing content between these two comments. Then open index.html in your browser. Now we are ready to start coding. Go back to mdbootstrap.com and in the search box type Navbar. And from here we'll copy the basic example code. So click copy button, come back to your project and paste it to index.html file. And here we have our Navbar. Let's break it down and explain every part of this component. As you can see, we need to wrap our Navbar with few obligatory classes. The first one is Navbar, and this class provides all the necessary basic styling. The next one is Navbar expand LG, and this class provides a responsive behavior for our Navbar, so it let the Navbar collapsing on a smaller screens, so our menu disappears and we can relaunch it by clicking this hamburger icon. And by changing this LG part, we can define on which screen size our Navbar should collapse. So we can, instead of LG, which stands for large screens, use MD for medium screen size and SM for small screen size. If you want to learn more about this, go back to mdbootstrap.com and in the layout section choose breakpoints, and here you can see what all these classes mean. So XXL, which stands for extra large screens, means screens larger than 1400 pixels. XL means 1200 pixels, LG 992 pixels, and so on. The next two classes, Navbar Light and BG Light, are color classes. And let us decide which color our Navbar should be. So for example, if we replace this BG Light with BG Primary, Navbar became blue. And to provide a necessary contrast, we can replace Navbar Light to Navbar Dark, because this blue is kind of dark color. So thanks to this, our links and other elements became white. So depending on the color you're using, if is it dark or is it light, you should use Navbar Dark for dark backgrounds and Navbar Light for light background. So playing with these BG classes, you can define the color, and by using Navbar Dark or Navbar Light, you can provide a necessary contrast. All available color classes you can find by typing colors in a search box, and here you can find a basic color classes. So use one of these classes to change the navbar color, or actually you can use these classes or any other components, but you are not limited to these 8 colors, because you can define your color by using inline style. So add a style attribute and background color, and now let's type some color here. And one important thing, if you are using inline style, you need to remove this bg class to not override our inline style. So after saving this, you can see we change the navbar color, and we can play with this and choose any color we want. Alright, let's change it back to the regular color classes. So bg light, let's say, another light. And the next thing we'll talk about is container. So we can use in Bootstrap container fluid or regular container, and that means that with the container fluid our navbar and elements inside will be stretched full width, but if we change it to the just container, we will provide some margins on the left and right of our navbar. And of course, even when using a regular container on a smaller screens, navbar is still responsive, so the margins will adjust to the screen size. And on the subject of responsiveness, here we have a toggle button which allows us to relaunch our menu on the smaller screens. So this is this hamburger icon, and by using data attribute we connect this button to this collapsible wrapper. Here you can see we have an ID of navbar supported content, and with this data mdb target we tell the navbar to connect the hamburger icon with this collapsible wrapper. So everything that is inside of this collapsible wrapper will collapse on smaller screens, and thanks to this button we can relaunch it by clicking it. Now we can move to so-called supported content. If you go back to Navbar docs, here you can see supported content section, and inside we can see a lot of subcomponents that we can use in our navbar. So of course our logo, links, buttons, text, drop downs, breadcrumb, icons, badges, notifications, flags, avatar, and many more. So let's have a look at our basic navbar and what's inside. So here we have our navbar brand, which can be a text, but also can be an image. So if you have a look here, we can copy this code and replace now we can have image instead of text, and here we can define the height of the image. So if you think it's too big, you can change it to the smaller size and adjust it to your needs. Let's have a look at collapsible wrapper. Inside of the wrapper we have an ordered list with links, so I think the most important part of almost any navbar, and we can use it as a regular link or as a drop down. So if you want to have more complex menu, you can wrap your links inside of the drop down and place all the additional links inside of the drop down component. You can also use disabled class to disable links, so now it cannot be clicked. And very typical construction is placing a form, a search form, on the right side of the navbar. So we are using here an input group with a regular input and a button connected to that input. If you click on the button, you can see this nice ripple effect, which is typical for material design. And if you don't know, MD Bootstrap means material design for Bootstrap and provide material design style and look for a Bootstrap. And that's all that we have in our basic example. So now let's have a look at some additional options, and let's go back to Navbar docs. Now in this supported context section we will have a look at some other subcomponents. Now let's say we want to use these icons. So let me just copy this part, this unordered list. We don't copy this part because we already have this in our navbar. We also already have a container, so we only need this unordered list. So after copying this, we can place them instead of our search form, and here we have our icons. Adding any subcomponents to your navbar is just simple as that, and basically this supported content means that everything from this section, from this documentation, will work out of the box. What's worth mentioning, everything from regular Bootstrap works in MD Bootstrap, of course, but thanks to MD Bootstrap we have at our disposal plenty of additional options. So for example, let's have a look at this notification icon, which is not available in a regular Bootstrap. So let's copy this and let's place it inside of our icon list. And with this simple trick we have working notification icon. Now let's talk about the most tricky part of the Navbar component, content alignment. So here you can find a content alignment section and useful information about this topic, and as you can read here, to align the Navbar content to the right or left, use me-auto or ms-auto classes. For content centering, use flexbox utilities. So about centering, we'll talk about this a bit later. Now let's have a look at these two classes. me-auto, which stands for margin end, and ms-auto, which stands for margin start. And if we want to align the content to the left, we need to use the margin end auto. So if you don't know, start means the left side and end means the right side. But if you are using Bootstrap in R, TL version, it will be the opposite, so the start will be on the right and the end will be on the left. But for anyone using regular Bootstrap in the regular left to right version, ME is always end means the right side, and MS stands for start and is a left side of our navbar. So if we are using ME auto classes, it will add a margin on the right side, and thanks to this our links will be left aligned. But if we use MS auto classes, it will add a margin to the left side, and our elements will be aligned to the right side. So let's try this out. I'm copying this first example, and let's replace the existing navbar with the navbar we just copied. And now let's change ME auto with MS auto, and as you can see, we change the alignment of the content, and it's just simple as that. Let's have a look at next options. If we want to center the content, we need to remove MS auto or ME auto and use Flexbox utilities, which is in this case justify content center next to the navbar collapse to center the content. So let's copy this and let's replace the existing navbar with the one we've copied. And here you can see next to the collapse and navbar collapse classes we add justify content center, and this class is a Flexbox utility classes which allows us to center the content inside of the navbar and actually inside of every component. If you want to learn more about navbar, about Flexbox, just type Flexbox inside of the search box, and here is a Flexbox documentation with many examples, and there is also a builder which allows you to play with the Flexbox options, and actually it's a great way to learn this Flexbox concept. Alright, coming back to our navbar, the next thing we'll talk about is placement. It's also a tricky matter, so let's have a look at this section. And thanks to position utilities classes, we can define if our navbar should be by default fixed to the top or to the bottom, or should behave as any other component. So when you scroll the page, it will disappear. So if you want to fix your navbar to the top, you can do it by using these fixed top classes. So let's try this out. I will change the color of the navbar to make it a bit more visible. So primary class and navbar dark. All right, and now let's add fixed top class, and to see the effect we need to add some additional content to the page, because now we cannot scroll it, there is nothing here, so there is no scroll available. So let's add some div, and let's add it a height of 3000 pixels. Now there is a scroll, and when we scroll you can see the navbar is always fixed to the top. If we remove this fixed top class, it will not be fixed to the top, so it's a regular, it's default behavior of the navbar. So when you scroll, it disappears. We can also use fixed bottom class, and now our navbar is fixed to the bottom. That's also useful feature. Let's have a look what else we have at our disposal in the documentation. So we already talked about responsive behavior and collapsing wrapper. So here we have some advanced examples and Facebook style navbar. So as you can see, it's very typical composition for Facebook. We have 3 columns, 1 column left align, second column is center, and the third is aligned to the right. So let's copy this example and let's see how it looks in our project. And it works out of the box. So it's a complex composition, but if you need some more advanced navigation and you also have a complex website, you can definitely use this example to improve your user experience. And the last thing I want to talk about is Navbar Builder. So if you click on this link at the top of the documentation, you can see a Navbar Builder, and here we have a few subcomponents to choose. We can change the color using basic color classes. So as you can see, when I click on this button, the classes changes in this code of block of code. And of course I can change when I am using a dark background. I can mark this checkbox, and it will replace Navbar light class with Navbar dark, as we talked about it before. And we can also use a custom color, and we can also change the placement. You can always reset all the options and start again. So this generator, this builder is useful if you don't want to play on your own with the navbar. You want to just mark the options you like, and thanks to this you can be sure that everything is working correctly, and then just copy the code and place it in your project. And that's it. I hope you found this video useful, and that right now there is no mystery in the Bootstrap Navbar for you anymore. Thanks you for watching, and subscribe to our channel because we publish useful video every few days. See you in the next tutorial.